everyone, my name is Alicia Costa. I started getting involved with photography when I was in high school, working in the darkroom, working with film. I loved all aspects of art, so I did a lot of drawing, some painting, wood blocking. Just always loved art, but photography really got me in the heart. I basically used film. In those days, I had a small enlarger at my home that my parents got me, so I would go in my basement and just lock myself up and try to do the film, produce the film, and then make the pictures. When digital photography came along, that was kind of the next step, which was kind of exciting because you could just take your photos and then you'd have it right there. So high school is really when I started with the photography. The organizations that I'm involved with at this point are the Forum with Bill, the Hunterton Camera Club, Art Bridge, and the New Hope Arts. I do some other small projects. I've done a couple of other shows throughout, the counties here, like in Hopewell. I try to, look into whatever's going on and get involved that way. As far as the shot that was chosen for this project, I had come across that barn about a year ago, just driving around, and I thought it was so cool because I love the old stone and I love that it was blue. I just thought, this is such a cool, and it's on a cool piece of property. And as I was driving by, they were selling jars of honey. There was no people around, so I bought the jar of honey. So then, now we come to this summer, and I'm driving around again, and I come across this barn, and I decide that I'm going to take several shots. When I came to the side of this barn, because there's several different shots. You can walk up, and then there was the big barn door, but then as you come around the side, that's where this shot was taken. And I just love that the door was halfway open. I love that there was light on the building, just kind of splattered. I love that the other door was closed and then the window was there, and it was midday in the summer. The light just was so cool, I thought, on it. And again, the bright blue of the building. Because as you drive around Hunterton County, you see there's a lot of beautiful barns and a lot of them are red. But I just loved it. So that's basically, my story about coming across this barn. I try to keep my pictures, as natural as I see them. So when I downloaded it on my computer, I really just cropped it and I enhanced the color a little bit and I sharpened it a little bit. And I had cropped it a couple of different ways, but this was the way that I, spoke to me. I liked it the best. The camera I use is a Rebel, a Canon Rebel. I had my 55 millimeter lens, so it was a small lens. The focal length was 24 millimeters. Let's see, I have some notes here. I didn't use a flash, and basically the picture is the way I saw it, basically. Whatever my eye sees, I like to keep it that way. I'm more of a human interest kind of person. I love taking pictures of people, street stuff, abandoned things. I don't know, for me, they tell a story about, how I feel and how I see things. So, hopefully the message gets through to other people, what I'm seeing or feeling, or they make up their own story, which is, that's good too. So that's it.
I'm Louise Fiore. I live in Lambertville. And just to give a little background about how I started in photography, I started when I was in college. I was studying for my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, my BFA. And as part of that degree, I was required to take Photo 1 and 2 at the school that I went to. So I did those and fell in love with photography. I ultimately took every photo class that the school offered, and because I had a wonderful professor, was invited to take also a few graduate courses. So that was a great experience. So I took a lot of photography in college. I had access to a darkroom because I was also a photo lab assistant at the school at the time. Learned and loved working in the darkroom, and continued to do that. I eventually had my own darkroom at home for several years and was able to process and make photographs there. And not until a few years ago, when I retired and moved to Lambertville, did I take up photography again. And that was one of my goals in photography, was to start photographing seriously again. So after moving to Lambertville, I bought a new camera and I've been shooting ever since. To talk a little bit about the photograph that's part of this project, I was looking for locations. I was actually looking for farms where I could maybe find a good barn to shoot. And I was using Google Maps. And as I was doing that, I put the little peg man down and was walking along the street, trying to see where there might be some farms off to the side of the road, and instead found this bowling alley as I was passing by and thought it was great. I loved the blue front on the front of it, the paint on the front, and the whimsical bowling pins that were attached to the front. And it was just something that I knew would be great to shoot. It's definitely the type of photo I like to shoot, where there's some whimsy and some fun, and it wasn't the typical, just like, a historic building. I liked that it was different. I knew I wanted to shoot it when I saw the blue. I knew I wanted to shoot it on a cloudless, bright, sunny, blue sky day. So first chance I had where that was the case, I took a ride up there with my camera. After a few minutes of walking around, I decided that I shot a few photos, just test ones, and I noticed there were some treetops showing. So I knew I didn't want that. So I determined, that I had to step back a few steps and crouch down, shoot up at it a little bit so that I didn't have the treetops and I had that clear blue sky that I was looking for. And I took a few exposures there, moved side to side a little bit, but I knew that was the view, definitely. So I finished making my photographs, and it ended up being the photo that I loved the most out of all that I shot that day. And just on the technical side, I didn't do much. It was just a shot at an ISO was 400, and I shot it at f14 at 1/125th of a second. And didn't do much on the processing side either. I really just balanced out color a bit and deleted a little bit, cropped a little bit off the bottom, because when I crouched down, I got a little more parking lot than I wanted in the image, in the final image, because I needed to do that to just lose the trees on the top. So other than that, that's really the whole photo. That's the story of the photo. But I loved that bowling alley, and I just loved how it looked. And I'm kind of partial to that kind of building, bowling alleys in general, because my husband, his family owned a bowling alley when he was growing up, so he kind of grew up in one. And I just always thought they were fun, and it's a fun kind of place. So that's about it. And right now, I'm not working on any other projects, but I'm always looking for opportunities and shooting around town or wherever I go. And if I see something that interests me, I'll make a point. I keep a list of places that I want to shoot, and I'll go back to those places then whenever I have a chance. And I'm just looking for exhibits right now that where I can maybe enter photographs, and maybe shooting for specific themed things based on, exhibits that I can enter photos in. That's about it.
Hi, my name is Ken Curtis. I live on Woodland Drive in Lebanon Township. I got started in photography back in 2008 when I attended a camera club meeting in Cranbury, New Jersey. The speaker that night was presenting a talk on landscape photography, and his images were so wonderful. That's what hooked me. And I've been doing photography ever since then. I made a big gamble here, and I went down into Bill Brokaw's backyard, and I photographed the Horseshoe Bend Bridge in Frenchtown area. I I knew that the position that I had to be in to take this was down near the water. And I was fortunate that there was a big rock down there where I could set up my tripod and camera. And it was really nice that I could do that because the bridge cast a beautiful reflection on the water. The sun, it was late afternoon that day when I was there. And fortunately, the sun was not shining directly on the bridge, but there was mottled sunlight showing through the leaves of the trees. I took 3 photographs while I was shooting. They were all set at ISO 200, f/16 for an aperture, and the timing was 0.3 of a second, 1/10 of a second, and 0.022 seconds. And I combined those images with software, HDR software. And the reason for that was it was extremely bright where the sun was shining in the background. And underneath on the ceiling of the bridge's arch was very dark. So by using the HDR software, I was able to bring out the features in both without blowing out anything in the image. I like shooting what I call found objects. I spend a lot of time looking for things that are photographically interesting. And I guess that's about it. Oh, I guess I would like to say also, this Barnes Bridges and Buildings project was a wonderful thing to do. It came just at the right time because with COVID, spending a lot of time at home and not getting out, and the project gave me a reason to go out and look for things and do photography. So I'm very glad that I was a participant. Thank you.